Educational project. Unit plan on the shadowing technique to improve fluency, pronunciation, and intonation in English. First, general information. Topic: the shadowing technique to improve fluency and pronunciation in English. Unit words. General objective: to improve students' fluency, pronunciation, and intonation using the shadowing technique, tailored to Ecuadorian cultural and linguistic context. Specific objectives. First, pronunciation and intonation. Students will learn to accurately mimic the sounds, rhythm, and intonation of native speakers using the shadowing technique. Second, fluency and speech continuity. Students will improve their ability to speak continuously without unnecessary pauses through interactive shadowing exercises. Third, self-correction and evaluation. Students will develop self-correction skills during oral production, allowing them to recognize and correct their mistakes in real time. Fourth, real-world application. Activities will contextualize shadowing in everyday Ecuadorian situations such as interaction in restaurants, public transport, or informal conversations. Soft skills to develop. First, pronunciation, sound and articulation, mastery of English vowels and consonants, sounds reduction and contractions, familiarity with natural fluent pronunciation. Second, intonation, rhythm, learning to apply the natural rhythm of English, avoiding robotic speech, rising and falling tones, adapting intonation to make speech more expressive and understandable. Third, fluency, linking sentences using linking words and phrases to ensure smooth transitions between ideas. Natural pauses, developing the ability to use pauses strategically to aid comprehension. Fourth, self-correction, error detection, techniques for recognizing mistakes in pronunciation, grammar, or rhythm while speaking. Repetition and continuous improvement using recordings to facilitate self-correction and self-learning. Evaluation criteria. To assess students' progress, the following criteria will be used. First, fluency, pace and flow. Ability to maintain a consistent rhythm in conversation without unnecessary pauses. Absence of artificial pauses, measurement of the ability to speak continuously and fluently. Second, accuracy, proper grammar and vocabulary use, evaluation of correct grammar and vocabulary choice in appropriate context. Clear pronunciation, observing clarity in sounds and words. Third, pronunciation and intonation, clarity of sounds, evaluation of precision in pronunciation, use of intonation, ability to use intonation to emphasize points and provide emphasis. Fourth, coherence, logical structure of ideas, assessment of the ability to organize ideas clearly and logically, use of transition and connectors, evaluation of the use of logical connectors to maintain coherence in speech. Ecuadorian context. This unit is contextualized for Ecuadorian students learning English as a second language, particularly in urban areas where English is important for business, tourism, and international relations. The shadowing technique will allow them to improve their ability to speak English more fluently and naturally, aiding in their integration into globalized work and academic environments. Lesson Plan 1. Opening. Objectives of the day. Present the lesson's objective. Today, we will learn how to improve our fluency and pronunciation using the shadowing technique. This will help us sound more natural when speaking English. Introduction to shadowing. Explain what shadowing is and how students will listen to and repeat sentences while mimicking the speaker's reading, pronunciation, and intonation.
Up on the list is the Teleferico cable car that takes you up to the top of Pichincha volcano to the lookout of Cruz Loma. It's actually one of the highest aerial lifts in the world, starting at 10,226 feet and then all the way up to 12,943 feet. It takes about 20 minutes to get to the lookout. At the lookout, you will have the gateway to the hike to the summit of Pichincha. You will need to bring a photo ID, and do keep in mind altitude sickness is a thing in Quito. The ticket price is $8.50.
Now here we are in the Central Historical Area. This is the Plaza de Santo Domingo.
Founded by the Spanish in the year 1534, it's actually built on the ruins of an old ancient Inca city. The Centro Historico here in Quito is considered one of the most well-preserved Spanish cities in South America. And in case you guys didn't know this, Quito is actually the highest elevation capital city in the world. Although in Bolivia they have two capitals, one of which being La Paz, which is actually higher up. But being that Ecuador only has one capital, Quito is it, and it's the highest elevation. In the Central Historical Area, there's a famous road called Calle de la Ronda. So if you're in the area, in the evening time, come check this place out. In the morning time, there are some cafes and you will have the area to yourself. But as it gets later in the day, it does pick up with foot traffic. So either way, very beautiful place to walk and take pictures. They have a unique gin that you can buy here called Peruna. Get a cup of coffee and then head back out into the Central Historical Area. But you can see very colorful old colonial Spanish. From La Ronda, you'll go to Venezuela Avenue, and I found this one to have a lot going on here. This was probably the most busy area that I saw in the historical area, with great views of the Virgin on the mountain.
And here we are now at Plaza Independencia.
And this monument here recognizes the defeat of the Spanish forces here at the Battle of Pichincha on May 24th, 1822. I found it to be a nice place to just sit down on the bench and relax. Occasionally you'll have street vendors coming up to you asking you if you want to buy something or get a shoe shine. I actually did a shoe shine. I do a lot of hiking in the wilderness, so my shoes were a bit dusty, and thanks to this man here, for $3, he brought out the color in my shoes again, got them jet black again, even blacker than they were when I bought them, so I was really pleased with this service, and I gave him a little tip on top of the $3.
Now here I am at the Virgin of Panecillo, right here on the Mirador.
Located at the top of Panecillo Hill, it is actually named after a small bread. That's what it looks like right here in the heart of the city. And the Virgin is actually a monument similar to the statue in Rio de Janeiro of Christ the Redeemer. Up here, you'll find great views of Quito in 360 degrees, so do be sure to walk around the area. From the city center, it takes about 10 minutes, but if you didn't want to do that, you could always take the double-decker bus. In fact, let's talk about that Quito City Tour double-decker bus. So it only costs $8.50 and it takes you to around 5 or 6 different destinations across Quito. If this is your first time to Quito, I highly recommend getting on this bus just to familiarize yourself with what's in the city. This is really a great things to do bus. It is a hop-on, hop-off bus that goes from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. departures every hour. Some of the stops include the National Road, which is the downtown area, Mercado Artesanal, the Basilica, San Francisco, the Virgin, and Plaza Foch. My recommendation is if you're going to sit on top of the double-decker bus, make sure you bring sunscreen and sun protection because the sun is very bright here in Quito.
And here we are now at Parque de Carolina.
The Carolina Park is essentially the central park of all of Quito. They have a garden here. They have many soccer fields, Lots of sports activities. When you go here, you'll definitely see lots of people enjoying this beautiful park right here along the Avenue Nacional Unidas. And this is probably the most affluent area of all of Quito from my experience in terms of modernity and vibrance. So if you get a chance, maybe even get your hotel down in this area.
Here we are at Quicentro Mall. It's a very modern mall here in Quito.
There are several different malls across the city. This is one of them right here along the Nacional Unidas Road. So downtown has one, but these malls are all across Quito. And another great way to get around Quito is by the metro. You can see right here they do have a subway. And I'll show you around a little bit here what the sights and sounds of the downtown area look like. They have some really unique architecture, as you can see by these buildings. So Quito is definitely up and coming and very beautiful, especially in this area around the Carolina Park. Quito really does have a nice blend of the old world and this new modern city mixed in with all of the natural, beautiful setting of Pichincha.
Here we are now in front of El Ejido Park, right here in the downtown area of Quito.
El Ejido is another nice park to walk around. This is actually right across the street from the Hilton, one of the hotels that I did stay at while here. Down the road from here is the main nightlife area. This is Plaza Folk.
And now here we are at Mercado Artesanal La Mariscal.
If you plan to do some shopping, this is where you're going to want to go because you're going to support the local artisans.
Yeah, so when you come to Ecuador, you can get a Panama hat. They're called Panama hats, although they're actually from Ecuador. They're manufactured here in the Andes. So get you one. This is only like $18.
I also ended up getting a handbag that was made of real leather. They have some sweaters that you can get with alpaca, which can come in handy, especially at night, trying to stay warm. Wearing something like that from the Andes is very nice. And I really would say if you're going to come to Ecuador, try to do some shopping here because the products are very unique. You're not going to find them anywhere else in the world, so take advantage. Now let's talk about local food. Obviously plenty of fruit, in this case mango.
There's some mango here. And here we have some guinea pig on the barbecue. Some guinea pig.
I didn't try it, but people say it tastes like pork.
All right, now for the main course. This is some sort of camarones and rice. Some of the snacks you get: plantain chips, popcorn, and corn kernel. Ceviche.
Tengan buen provecho.
Thank you.
Que tengan buen provecho.
Some potato soup.
Yeah, so here we are now at the Mitad del Mundo. This here is the middle of the earth because this is where the equator actually passes right through. So we'll go take a look.
Mundo in Spanish means world, mitad means middle, so Mitad del Mundo, the middle of the earth. That's literally the equator right here at 0 degrees. People like to come here and stand in both hemispheres, north and south hemisphere, although there is some controversy as to whether or not this is actually the exact center of the earth because some people have said it's a little bit further away than here. I don't know, but either way, it's a nice place to go and being right there along the equator. And you can actually walk up to the top of the monument with great views and get a little bit of history.
So here we are going to Otavalo, which is another town. We're going to be doing some exploring around there, but on the way we have a stop called El Pisque, and this is actually a river, and it's got a big canyon looking down. Really cool mirador for you. So here we are in Otavalo. You can see we've got a mirador with the volcano right here and the Lake San Pablo, as well as some alpacas.
So getting out to Otavalo takes about an hour and a half. Some say it takes an hour, but I would give it an hour and a half to 2 hours with traffic. But it's definitely worth a day trip out here because the volcano, Lake San Pablo, and some of the surrounding areas are spectacular.
So here we are now at the Hotel Puerto Lago here in Otavalo. You can see right behind me we've got the Lake San Pablo and then the volcano up top.
Depending on availability, the rooms here at this particular hotel are around $150 to $200, but if you don't want to stay here, they do have a very nice restaurant right along the lakeside. It reminds me a bit of Switzerland right here, so that's something that's kind of charming for some people.
So the volcano here is called Imbabura, and it's way high up there. This is a natural lake. The rain water that comes off that volcano, comes into this lake right here, and that's how you have Lake San Pablo.
The shadowing technique is a method often used for language learning, communication practice, or performance training. It involves listening to an audio or video recording to the native speakers and trying to shadow or mimic what they say as closely as possible in real time. The purpose is to improve fluency, pronunciation, intonation, and listening comprehension. Here's how the shadowing technique typically works. Choose an audio or video, select in a short clip or a piece of media where someone speaks in the language you're learning. It could be a podcast, a YouTube video, or a conversation between native speakers. Listen actively. Listen to the recording without speaking. At first, pay attention to the speaker's tone, speed, and how they pronounce words. If possible, read the transcript or subtitles as you listen. Repeat immediately. Start mimicking the speaker as soon as you feel comfortable. Repeat their words out loud, trying to match their speed, intonation, and accent. The goal is to mirror them as closely as possible. Pause and repeat. If the speech is fast, pause after a sentence or phrase, repeat it, and then move on. Gradually increase the speed as you become more comfortable. Check for accuracy. After shadowing, compare your pronunciation and intonation with the original speaker. This helps you identify areas for improvement. Motivation. Start a brief discussion about the importance of speaking English fluently and how shadowing can help achieve that goal. Benefits of shadowing. Improves pronunciation. By mimicking native speakers, you learn to pronounce words more naturally. Increases fluency. Shadowing trains you to speak more quickly and fluently without hesitating. Enhances listening skills. Constantly listening to native speakers help you understand different accents, speech patterns, and natural language use. Helps with intonation. It helps you grasp the rhythm and melody of the language, improving how you sound when you speak. Second, development. Activity 1. Listen and observe. Play an audio recording of a Quito, Ecuador travel guide. The best things to do in Quito. That follows next. Students listen attentively to the video and observe the pronunciation and rhythm of the native speakers. Activity 2. Shadowing practice. Students listen to the recording again and repeat the sentences simultaneously with the speaker, mimicking pronunciation, rhythm, and intonation. Encourage students to record themselves while practicing and compare their recording with the original to identify areas for improvement. Third, closing. Final reflection. Ask students how they felt about the shadowing practice and what part was most challenging. Group feedback. Provide general feedback on the practice, focusing on pronunciation, rhythm, and intonation. Homework. Students should record a new shadowing practice using another provided fragment and submit for evaluation. Interactive activities and supporting materials. First, materials. Video recordings. Essays from native English conversation adapted to Ecuadorian context. Description of tourist spots in Ecuador. Second, activities. Shadowing practice. Listening to and repeating recordings with an emphasis on mimicking speech. Group discussion. After practicing, students discuss how to improve fluency, pronunciation, and intonation. Recording and feedback. Students record their own practice and compare the pronunciation with the model to spot mistakes.